Some women bring peace the moment they enter your life. Others bring peace the moment they leave. But how do you spot her before the damage is done? Before your mind is exhausted? Before your peace is drained? This isn't hate. It isn't bitterness. It's clarity. Because if you've ever questioned your own sanity in a relationship, felt like you were always defending, explaining, apologizing, this video is for you. Not every woman in your life is good for your life. And today, I'll walk you through 7 clear signs of the kind of woman that Stoic men must recognize and walk away from. The ancient Stoics believed, happiness depends on the quality of your thoughts. I'll add this. It also depends on the company you allow to shape them. Let's begin. Number 1. She creates confusion where there should be clarity. A good woman brings peace to your thoughts. A dangerous one, she brings fog. At first it's subtle. You can't quite put your finger on it. You say something, and somehow it's twisted. You remember things one way, she swears it happened another. You walk away from conversations not feeling heard, but feeling unsure. Not unsure of her, unsure of yourself. That's how it starts. And here's the dangerous part. She doesn't yell. She doesn't accuse. She just shifts the ground beneath your feet until you're no longer standing on your own thoughts. You second-guess your memory. You downplay your instincts. You start apologizing for things you never actually did. And that's not love. That's not misunderstanding. That's psychological erosion. The kind of erosion that doesn't break you overnight. It breaks you slowly, silently, from the inside out. One Stoic master once said, "Confusion is a sign to pause, not to push forward." But most men don't pause. We try to fix. We try to clarify. We explain harder, communicate more, trying to clear the fog. And in doing so, we sink deeper into it. Let me be clear. If you're constantly defending your words, constantly clarifying your intentions, constantly unsure of where you stand, you are not in a relationship. You are in a mental maze built by someone who thrives on distortion. It's not a mistake. It's not miscommunication. It's a strategy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If something disturbs your peace, examine it. If it's unclear, it likely isn't true." And peace, my brother, is non-negotiable for the Stoic man. We don't swim in murky waters. We don't debate reality. We don't explain ourselves to someone committed to misunderstanding us. We observe. We listen. And when the clarity doesn't come, we leave. Because a man chasing peace will never find it with a woman who thrives in confusion and your mind, your focus, your inner stillness. That's not hers to manipulate. It's yours to protect. Number 2, she weaponizes her pain to control you. Every man has heard this one line, "You don't understand what I've been through." And the moment she says it, you freeze. Because you're a man with empathy, a man with a heart. You want to protect. You want to be different from the ones who hurt her. But listen closely. There's a difference between a woman who's healing from pain and one who's using it to control you. It starts innocently. You bring up something small, a boundary, a concern, a need, and instead of addressing it, she flips the script. Suddenly, you're the problem. Your request becomes an attack. Your calm becomes cruelty. Now, the conversation isn't about the relationship. It's about her trauma. Every time you express yourself, she raises the ghost of her past. "My ex used to say that. You sound just like my father. You have no idea how hard it is for me." And slowly, your needs vanish. Your voice disappears. Because now, you're not the man trying to build something healthy. You're the villain in her unhealed story. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail. And many good men fall for it. Not because they're weak, but because they're strong enough to feel. But hear this, a Stoic man does not confuse empathy with surrender. You can care. You can listen. You can even hold space for her story. But the moment her pain becomes a weapon, used to silence you, control you, punish you, it is no longer pain. It is power. And she's not seeking healing. She's seeking dominance. Epictetus warned, "It is not events that harm us, but our judgment about them." And in this case, it's not her pain that breaks you. It's your guilt for not being able to fix it. But let me tell you something that will set you free. You are not her therapist. You are not her father. You are not her emotional crutch. You are a man, not a bandage. And any woman who requires you to shrink yourself in order to make her feel safe isn't healing. She's controlling. The Stoic man doesn't shame her pain, but he also doesn't bow to it. You can be compassionate without being controlled. You can be present without being punished. And you can love her story without losing yours in the process. 3. Her presence makes you feel smaller, not stronger. A woman's presence should feel like shade in the sun, not a shadow over your light. But some women don't come into your life to build. They come to compete, quietly, subtly. And at first you won't notice it. She smiles when you win, but there's no warmth behind the eyes. She compliments your ambition, but somehow makes you feel guilty for working late. You start holding back your excitement, dimming your wins, so you don't intimidate her, and slowly, you become less of yourself just to keep her comfortable. Let's be clear, that's not humility. That's self-erasure. Because when a woman feels threatened by your strength, she doesn't celebrate you. She undermines you. It shows up in backhanded compliments, little jabs during conversations, or jokes that sting in places you don't speak about. One man once told me, "She never told me to slow down. She just made me feel bad every time I sped up." And that's the tactic. She doesn't stop your growth. She just makes it feel selfish. You're told you're too focused, that you care more about work than people, that your goals are just an ego trip. And before you realize it, you're apologizing for wanting more, for being driven, for having vision. But as the Stoics teach, be indifferent to what does not control your character. And yet the wrong woman will try to rewire that character from the inside. Because here's the truth most men don't say out loud. Some women don't want you to shine. They want to be the only source of your light. If her presence leaves you feeling smaller, quieter, less confident, it's not love, it's emotional erosion. And erosion doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, quiet, invisible, until one day you don't recognize the man in the mirror. The Stoic man protects not just his time and peace, but also his potential. And any woman who makes you feel guilty for expanding is not a partner. She's a limitation. Don't water yourself down to keep her ego afloat. Don't apologize for your growth. And never, ever shrink to fit into a space you've outgrown. 4. She seeks power, not partnership. A real relationship is a team. Two people facing the world side by side. But with her, it feels like a quiet war. One you didn't know you signed up for. One where every disagreement is a test. Every win is a threat. Every no turns into a punishment. At first you chalk it up to tension. Maybe she just likes control. Maybe she's intense. But then you notice the pattern. She keeps score. She doesn't forget mistakes. She saves them. And every favor you receive becomes a debt. She gives only when she's in control, withdraws when she's not. This isn't love. It's a power game dressed up as connection. And the price you pay? Your freedom, your voice, your masculine presence. Because the more you compromise to keep the peace, the more peace you actually lose. A Stoic once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." And in her eyes, you being grounded, focused, calm, that's not masculine strength. It's a threat to her control, so she tests your limits. Not to understand you, but to weaken you. It shows up when she disrespects your decisions, pushes boundaries you already set, and calls your calmness coldness because it doesn't bend to her mood. She doesn't want your love. She wants your obedience. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself reshaping your identity to keep her comfortable. But here's the thing. You were never made to live on your knees, especially not in a relationship. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In this case, the best revenge is clarity. You don't retaliate. You don't argue. You disengage. Because the Stoic man doesn't seek to control or be controlled. He seeks alignment, balance. A woman who doesn't play power games because she knows real power is shared. You're not here to fight inside your own home. You're here to build. And if she can't meet you as a partner, then you don't need her as a presence. 5. She disrespects your time and dares you to notice time. The one thing you'll never get back. Not your money, not your energy, not your effort, your time. A woman who disrespects it isn't just careless. She's dangerous to your peace. And at first it looks harmless. She's always running late, always forgetting plans, always asking you to reschedule important things to suit her mood. You wait in restaurants. You cancel workouts. You move your schedule around just this once, until just once becomes a habit. And that habit becomes a lifestyle. And that lifestyle, it's hers. You're just living inside it. You see, it's not about being busy. It's about priority. A Stoic once wrote, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the significance they assign to them." And when a woman constantly disrespects your time, she's telling you how much she values you, not with her words, but with her actions. Because a woman who respects your presence will honor your time. She won't always be perfect, but she'll be present. But this woman, she treats your minutes like trash, your calendar like a joke, your boundaries like something cute to ignore. She doesn't value your time because she doesn't value structure, and a woman who resents structure will always resent a man with direction. You'll notice it most when you have a mission, a new project, a moment of clarity, a season where you're focused. Suddenly, she needs more of you. Suddenly, she's emotional, confused, needy. Because the moment you stop orbiting her, she realizes she was never building with you. She was just feeding off your focus. Seneca warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." So ask yourself, are you building something or just waiting on someone? Because a woman who truly sees you will protect your time like it's her own. And the ones who don't, they won't steal your life with drama. They'll steal it in minutes, in lateness, in excuses, in distractions, until one day you look back and realize you've been waiting for a woman to show up fully, and she never does. The Stoic man moves with intention. He gives his time to what matters. And if someone cannot respect that, he doesn't complain. He simply reclaims it. You don't need to yell. You don't need to chase. You don't even need to explain. You just stop giving time to people who don't value what it costs. 6. She refuses accountability but demands compliance. There's a difference between imperfection and deflection. We're all flawed. We all get it wrong sometimes. But some women, they don't just make mistakes. They never own them. You bring up something calmly. She flips it emotionally. You show her proof. She shifts the blame. You try to talk it out. She says, "You're attacking me. You always do this. Why are you making me feel like the bad guy?" And suddenly, you're not talking about what she did. You're talking about how she feels. Now, it's not about the issue. It's about your tone. It's about her past. It's about your lack of empathy. That's not communication. That's emotional dodgeball. A Stoic once said, "When you blame others, you give up your power to grow." But she doesn't want growth. She wants to win. You'll find yourself apologizing just to keep the peace, numbing yourself just to avoid conflict, becoming smaller just to avoid another explosion. And here's the twisted part. She'll accuse you of being the problem because you're the one trying to fix it. She'll say you're overthinking, that you're controlling, that you're always making her the issue. But let me tell you something. Any person, man or woman, who never takes ownership for their behavior will eventually blame you for everything. That's not a relationship. That's emotional tyranny. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I'll gladly change, for I seek the truth." But when you're with someone who sees truth as a threat, you're not building with a partner. You're surviving with a defender of ego. And the longer you stay, the more you start to doubt yourself. Because here's what happens. When accountability dies, so does intimacy. You can't grow with someone who thinks every correction is an attack. You can't build with someone who protects their pride more than the relationship. You'll always be the one to say sorry. You'll always be the one starting drama. You'll always be too much, until one day you realize you weren't too much. She was too unwilling to look in the mirror. The Stoic man chooses truth over comfort, clarity over chaos, humility over ego. And a woman who cannot say, I was wrong. That's on me. I hear you, isn't protecting the relationship. She's protecting the illusion of perfection. You don't have to expose her. You don't have to change her. You don't even have to convince her. Just leave. Because staying with someone who never admits fault will eventually make you feel like your truth isn't worth speaking. And the man who loses his voice soon loses himself. 7. She destroys peace, but never creates it. A Stoic man doesn't chase thrills. He seeks peace, not silence, not submission, not comfort at any cost. Real peace, the kind you feel when your mind is still, when your heart isn't guessing, when your soul isn't on high alert. But when you're with the wrong woman, peace becomes a memory. It starts small. One day there's tension that comes out of nowhere. Next week it's another argument that makes no sense. Eventually it feels like the calm days only exist to set up the storm. You walk on eggshells, you overthink your tone, you spend hours preparing how to say something so it won't be taken the wrong way. And the worst part? Even when it's calm, it doesn't feel safe. One brother put it this way, it's not that she screamed at me. It's that I never knew when the storm would start. That's what emotional chaos does. It robs you of presence. It trains your nervous system to expect pain, not connection. And no man thrives in that environment. Because here's the truth. The woman you choose will either sharpen your clarity or corrode your soul. She will either help you think deeper or make you question your sanity. She'll either bring peace with her presence or confusion every time she enters the room. You don't need a perfect woman. You don't even need a peaceful one all the time. But if she constantly creates conflict, always needs to be calmed, always finds a reason to fight, twist, or turn against you, you are not in love. You are in a trap. As the Stoics remind us, peace is something we create internally, but we must protect it externally. And that means this. If she's always the reason you're mentally tired, emotionally restless, spiritually worn down, she's not a partner. She's a pattern, a loop, one that ends with you losing yourself. The Stoic man knows. You don't find peace, you choose it, and then you defend it, like your life depends on it, because it does. You weren't built to be broken quietly. You weren't created to question your truth. You weren't designed to stay small to make her feel big. If this video has shown you anything, it's this. There is power in walking away, not out of hate, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. Because peace isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of self-respect. So choose peace. Choose stillness. Choose a life that doesn't need to be explained. Comment below, I choose peace. Subscribe for more Stoic clarity, emotional mastery, and the truth they never told us growing up. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay stoic, and let the storm learn to respect your silence.